Lebanon traffic, Skyhawk 53460, takeoff runway 19er to the south, Lebanon.
Good. Now you look for traffic. Look for traffic both ways.
Sure nobody's landing on us.
Yeah.
And then within 3 seconds, I need to have full power, right?
Then 3 to 4 seconds, yep.
I hate
as you line up on the runway, make sure you have runway heading on your DG, on your heading indicator. This lets you know that at night you're on the correct one.
Well, right now it's showing.
This would be 19er right here.
Right.
So we'd readjust it. Okay.
All right, and then go ahead and give it full power, and then we're ready to go.
Remember, it may try to move to the left on you, so you got to give it.
Archer 3057 Foxtrot, 10 miles to the east at 4,500, planning runway 19er, 11 traffic.
Okay, look at your airspeed indicator.
Right. Rotate at 55.
Yep. Look at your airspeed.
Right.
Why is it? How do you get more airspeed?
Push it down.
Push it down. Push it. You're going to stall it in the takeoff. This is what they call a takeoff departure stall. If you allow it to just keep coming up, coming up, coming up, coming up, you'll just stall it.
That airspeed's just picking up real bad.
And climb out at 74. Try to trim it for 74.
I don't know why I'm still getting.
You're getting a little. As it heats up today, it gets a little bumpy.
Well, I'm still getting real disoriented on it.
On what?
The takeoff, like just.
Well, this is a new plane, so that's fine. I'm not concerned about that yet.
As long as you're watching me.
All right. But there's got to be a sight picture that you got to get familiar with. In other words, you have to see the horizon. See how the horizon is now?
Right.
That's a good sight picture as you take off. What you got this.
Right.
See how high that is? Look at it. That's at almost 10-degree pitch.
Right.
And your airspeed just bleeds off. Lebanon traffic, Skyhawk 460. We've departed runway 19er. We're about 2 miles south of the runway on a 19er heading. 190.
Lebanon traffic, Archer 57 Foxtrot, now 6 to the east. We're just south of I-40, descending out of 3,700, setting up for the 45, left downwind runway 19, Lebanon.
Pretty hazy out here today, so you want to
look out.
Keep an eye out. Yeah.
Approaching 2,000 feet.
All right. Climbing up to 3,500 for now. .74 knots. I got to get you climbing at it, but don't trim to 74. You put the yoke, adjust the yoke to 74, stabilize it at 74, then trim the pressure off. Remember, just because you have it on 74 just for a second, you got to let the plane stabilize at the proper pitch attitude. Then trim it out. And when you get close, you got to make real small pitch adjustments, or you won't get it. You just go blasting past it.
I just still feel like I'm real nose high,
Well, you may be. But that's okay as long as you're still indicating 74, which is V what?
74 is VY.
VY.
VX is
best rate of climb over time. Opposed to VX, which is best angle of climb over distance.
I feel like I just can't seem to get it at that 74 and just stay.
Okay, now you're going to, you've cleared all obstacles, now you're going to go transition to a cruise climb of, let's say, 85. Yeah, hey, you got to be able to change gears. No laughing.
I'm laughing because I'm still trying to get it at 74.
I know, I'm changing gears on you. You struggled long enough for 74. Now give me 85.
Okay.
And then we're going to accept whatever climb rate we get. And we're down to 75 degrees, which is not bad. I'll accept 75 degrees. You're coming up on your altitude. That's one of the things you got to be monitoring as you're climbing out. You got to know what altitude you're looking for, and so you can level out.
So now I can go ahead and start pulling power back to what, about 2100?
I'd say 22, 23.
11 in traffic, Archer 57, Foxtrot 45 for left downwind, runway 19. 11.
That's okay. You wandered off your heading, but that's okay. Okay, now you get Skyhawk 460, turn left heading 090. Left 090.
Left 090 460.
That was a good radio call back.
Whoa.
Got a little turbulence there.
So left 060.
And get on and then get on your altitude. But go ahead and leave your power setting as is. Leave it at 23.
Okay.
And how do you get down? How do you get down?
You gotta push the nose down.
Yeah, you gotta push the nose down.
That I hate doing.
Well, you get used to it. That's right. Stick and rudder. Don't use one without the other. And you're trying to keep it coordinated, trying to keep the ball centered.
57 Foxtrot, left base, runway 19, 11 in.
Okay, keep moving towards descending, because now you're back in a climb. And you're still high. So what do? You gotta just give it down just a little bit, and maybe trim it down a little. Coming up on your heading, good.
I was, and then I screwed that up.
11 in traffic, Archer 57 Foxtrot, left base to final, runway 19, be a full stop, 11 in traffic.
These are pretty normal settings right there. Temperature looks good. Pressure looks good. Vacuum looks good. Amp's good. Fuel flow is accurate, about 8 gallons. Outside air temperature 74.
Boy, it's hazy.
Hazy, yeah. It's not too bad because you actually still see the horizon out there just barely. Hey, don't look at me like that. No, you stop looking at me. That pilot humor.
Got your cameras talking to each other?
You got your little puffy cloud over there. Now the reg is, say, 2,000 foot horizontal, 500 foot below, or 1,000 foot above.
Runway 19, left turn to the southeast.
Aircraft that just landed, are you with us for a while?
Feel that turbulence bumping us around.
Yeah, as it heats up, that's the thing why a lot of pilots don't fly in the summertime much. When it starts to get either early in the morning
here next to the FBO
or late at night. They're waiting for that thing to cool down a little bit.
For whatever reason, that made it out of trim.
Say again?
For whatever reason, that little bit made it out of trim, and
It did?
Yeah, it started.
It probably pushed you up a little bit.
We're at 3,500.
Okay. Okay, we've moved it. We've got sufficiently away now. Now, sometimes on a power reduction, like I said, you're adjusting your power, and all of a sudden you hear a popping noise, and you notice that it starts to slow down and actually pitch down.
Right.
And then you look at your RPM gauge, and you notice that, you know, you're down to 0 and you're starting to descend now. You've got to quickly realize, look, I think I've had an engine failure. So now you've got to meet that emergency. So here we have a little time. We're at 3,500, so we want to pitch the best glide. And what is that? 68. So go ahead and pitch the best glide. Pitch the best glide, 68. And then I want you to trim it out at 68. Now, immediately also while you're doing that, I'm going to take a little trim here, you're gonna start trying to troubleshoot it. And you're going to start from left to right. You're going to look at your ignition. You may even cycle your ignition from left to right to both. Make sure, see if it'll run on one of them. You can try even do it right there. No. You know, so you got to run it through. You look at your master. Go ahead and shut your master down and turn it back on. Will the master shut the engine off? No. Master, it does shut down your electrical. So you lose your transponder for a second. You lose your radios for a second. You lose, you know, anything that's electrical. Now you're looking anything else. Avionics master is not going to have anything to do. That's not going to do. Now you look at your throttle. You're checking your throttle. You're checking your mixture. Run your mixture in. Run your mixture out. Run your mixture in. You know, look down here at your fuel gauge. Now you sort of, what we've done, run the L. You're making sure it's in. You're looking at your fuel valve. You're going left to right, left to right, left to right. Try it on the right for a little bit. See if that helps. You know, give it a chance to flow within 15, 20 seconds. Within 15, 20 seconds, going through the self-check. It should come up. If it was going to work not, go to the other one. Try to the left. So these are things you can do without even looking at a manual.
Right.
And like I said, you're trying to pitch for 68.
That's just trying to notice right now we got the throttle back, but that's just trying to notice, say, hey.
Trying to get the engine going again.
Right.
What happens if you would have hit on the right combination or your engine would have fired back up? That's your autopilot self-checking. You would have, the engine would have fired back up and you have left it like that. Okay, I got it working. Now I need to go. Then I'm going to hit the nearest function. Get this back up. Hit the nearest airport, yes, Lebanon Muni. And you hit direct, Lebanon Muni, and it gives you directions to it, and you follow it. Okay, go ahead and smoothly put in the throttle and climb back up to 3,500. At 80 knots, 85 knots, a cruise climb. Now if you've trimmed it up to help get best glide, go ahead and give it full power. And these clouds seem to may have come down a little bit over here out to the east. Okay, Skyhawk 460, turn left to a heading of 360.
Left to 360, Skyhawk 460.
Climb and maintain 3,500.
Climb and maintain 3,500. 460.
Okay, what we did, we met an emergency out there just by memory, just by flow, going from left to right on anything that we could think of that may have affected either the engine, maybe starving it from fuel, maybe carb ice. Well, we don't have carb ice. But on other planes you may fly, they have carburetor heat. By pulling carburetor heat, may burn off the ice and get your engine going again.
Right.
Okay, here's your manual. I pulled your manual out, and I went to the red tab. Okay, then here, engine failure. Engine failure, failure to restart. So, right up front, so you page 3 or 4. So here you are. Engine failure during flight. Restart procedures. Okay, and as we're climbing up, I'm just going to talk about them. First thing, it says airspeed 68. What airspeed did I ask you to go to earlier?
85.
No, I mean earlier when we had the emergency. I said go to best glide.
Was 74.
No, 68. I said 68. Best glide 68.
Okay.
Fuel shutoff valve on. It's telling you to check your fuel shutoff valve, which we did in the L shape. That was the last thing. Here it's saying the first thing. Well, you're saying, well, how could that thing get out in flight like that? It's not going to vibrate out. You're right. Let's say you ask me, hey Dave, reach back there and get my GoPro. So I'm turning in my seat and look at my foot. Look at my foot. Right. Just say that the shoelace caught it, and I just keep turning, and boom, I pull. Unbeknownst to me, I don't know anything about this airplane.
Right.
I pull your fuel valve out, trying to get the GoPro back there.
Right.
Here's a real plausible scenario. The guy you're flying with, he's got a nice pair of khaki pants that has a cuff in it. Yeah. And as he's turning around, it catches that thing and pulls it out. That's why you have to check all of your vital components that have anything to do with fuel. That controls the flow of fuel. You've got to check them in an emergency. Okay. Fuel selector, it says go to both.
So switch it. You want me to go ahead and
put it back to both? Yeah.
I was going to ask if you want.
What they're saying is, in all the training I've received over the years, is that if your engine died while it was on both, you may want to try left or right to see if that works for you. Because obviously both is not working for you, so don't stay with something that's not working for you. Auxiliary fuel pump switch on. I missed that on the flow. But as we check this fuel pump on. In other words, if we get an extra little fuel boost, maybe that'll get the fuel flowing. Mixture full rich. Make sure we got a good supply, because what does this do? This cuts the supply of fuel. Watch your RPMs.
Steady dropping. Yep.
See, I can kill the motor right here just by pulling, just like on the ground.
Right.
Okay. Ignition switch. Both. In other words, but if both's not working for you, check your left magneto.
Which we ran through that.
Check your right magneto.
Right.
And if neither of those work for you, then you go back to both. Okay. So you can see, even without even pulling the manual, we checked just about everything without it.
Right.
The only thing we missed was the fuel pump, and
So we would first check the mags, left, back to both, then right. Make sure that the master's on. Maybe even pump the fuel pump on to get the fuel flowing. Come over here, check the mixture.
There's two schools of thought. First, go to everything that's red.
Right.
Left to right or right to left, everything is red. Okay. Fuel valve, mixture, master, and then you can go from the opposite direction. Check my both, master on, fuel pump on, throttle, yep. Mixture, fuel, left to right to both. Now that's just memory aid without the manual. Right. Now we're going to experience one with the manual. So, and I want you to sort of do this on your own here. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and kill your engine. One of the first things you got to do though is what? You got to establish best glide. So as the engine sort of sputters down on you, you got to make the realization, look, I think my engine's dead, and I've got to meet that emergency. So you're immediately trying to get the best glide, but you can't sort of mess around. You got to sort of ease your way back to it and now you're going to your manual. You're reaching behind my seat. You're getting the manual. If you've got a co-pilot or you got a passenger, you lay it on their lap. You lay it on their lap and say, open it up to the red tab. So tell me that.
All right, so open it up to the red tab.
Okay, red tab. Good. He said. Then you say, okay, look for at the front there, see there, and you point to it because you've looked at this before. Engine failure. Go to engine failure. It says right up front there, forward. Okay, and then you look over there and you say, okay, I'm looking for engine failure during flight.
Alright, so mixture idle.
So you asked me to read it to you.
Okay. Read me the engine failure immediately.
Okay.
Well, that's after takeoff.
Airspeed 68. So you got to get it trimmed out. You want it trimmed so you can let go of it and not have to worry about it. Fuel shutoff valve, push in. So immediately you check the fuel shutoff valve. Good.
So it's in.
Fuel selector on both.
It's on both.
Good. Auxiliary fuel pump switch on. And just simulate that.
It's here, so I turn it on.
Turn it on. Mixture full rich. Go ahead and make sure it's full rich.
Full rich.
Ignition switch on both.
It's on both.
Okay. Now, you got two scenarios, options. Either A, it started the engine again, or B, it didn't. Now you're getting ready. You're a glider, and you got to find a place to land. So.
Right.
So you start looking left, right, center. I see and then if you can't see a good field, then you start looking.
The field right there.
Yep, and there's a big one right there. Can't even see it.
Right up underneath it.
Yep, right underneath you. So you try to figure out, okay, what was the prevailing? Don't hold this thing up. Trim it for 68. So then now you start running through your forced landing without engine power. Passenger seatbelt most upright. Secure. Airspeed 60 to 70 degrees, flaps up. 68. So to turn back this way, look at your field. Remember, watch your airspeed. Wing flaps to 20 when ready. Wing flap, hold it. Mixture idle cutoff. Other words, okay, now it's telling you to shut this whole fuel system down. You're getting ready to go in. You're going to shut everything down. You're going to shut the fuel off. You're going to shut the master off. See that big field there?
Yeah.
That one, we're going to the one we would try. Okay, I'm going to read out the forced landing without engine power. Again, you want to make sure your passengers have their seats belts on, and if they've leaned their seat back, you want to get it up most upright, just
right.
like in a. You want to maintain best glide for now. Flaps up. You want to shut down the fuel supply by going to idle cutoff, and that's simulated. Idle cutoff simulated, and then you're going to go drop straight down and shut it off at the valve down there too. So boom, boom. You gotta shut that out. Yeah, because you're already a glider. Your engine's already off.
Right.
Okay, ignition switch off. You want to get the ignition part of it off. Just go ahead and turn it off and pull the key out and make sure you got it in the off position. Now, you still have an electrical system going on, and you want to leave that on until you get your flaps set the way you want them. Go ahead and turn to a southerly heading. So and you're still trying to land into the wind. Notice as you get a high pitch attitude, what happens to your airspeed?
Starts to bleed off.
Right, you've got to be very cognizant of that, Garfield, and know your the pitch attitudes you can get away with and what it does to your airspeed. Got a lot of rock quarries around here.
A lot of what?
Rock quarries, old rock quarries.
Where they were drilling them out?
Yeah, they had excavated them out and got little nice pools down there. I'm sure the local kids know all about them.
I always wondered why they did that. Get the rock out or what?
Oh yeah, they use it to build up things. Sometimes, you know, big construction projects when they're building new runways or building new roads, they need rock bed to build things up. All right, coming up on altitude, good. Okay. Back to altitude. Okay, we're getting ready to simulate another engine failure. 64.7.
Lebanon.
Okay, here I got the power again. Again. We're going to stipulate that we tried to get this thing going, and we couldn't. So now we'll go call an engine out, force landing off field. Okay, first thing I would want to do is I would want to hit nearest airport.
57 Foxtrot, turning left downwind,
Direct.
19, departing to the
Okay,
northeast, climbing.
and it says it's 16 miles away. There's no way at 3,500 I'm going 16 miles. So forget that. We don't have an airport. So now I'm pitching to best glide, and now I'm just going to sort of put it in a slight turn. I'm going to look left and right, looking for a good place to put this down. Remember, I can still glide a good 4 or 5 miles, but not 16.
Right there in front of us.
Okay, go for that. That's the one we were at earlier. Now, we know we're in the vicinity of Lebanon, and we knew when we took off the winds were 200. I believe that's what they were, 200. So we're gonna assume, unless we get direct evidence on the ground like smoke, or actually able to see the wind blowing across the fields or whatnot, that the wind is still approximately 200 down there. So we want to land into the wind. So we want to land at a heading of 200. So where is that?
00 is...
It's back behind it, turning back behind us, right?
I want to go around and then like run a
and
airport.
come back, right. You want to do a downwind base and then come back. So 68, which is good, and we're going to lower them just a little so you see your field. See your field there? You're almost coming into 45. So you're going to turn base and then come back around. Okay. Now, we're going to simulate all this because we're not going to shut the engine down. Got your best glide, you're keeping an eye on it, got your manual out, you happen to have a passenger, so you ask them to read the emergency landing without engine power. And it talks about the seat backs and the seat belt secure and upright. It says airspeed 70, but right now we're going to go 68 because that's best glide. But if you have a hard time, you can do it 70 if you can see that better. Mixture idle cutoff. Okay, I want you to simulate going mixture idle cutoff. So you reach up there and simulate pushing it, pulling it out. Pulling it out. That shuts the fuel flow because the engine's already dead. You're going to then immediately go down and shut the fuel valve off. Okay, now you're going to simulate turning the ignition off.
That off.
Okay. And wing flaps as required. Now, if you look out for that bird there. See it?
Yeah, I see him.
Okay, you got to, yeah.
Below us.
That one, he was going down. So now, parallel to your landing zone and start looking at it. Can I make it with wing flaps, or do I need to leave my wing flaps up? There's your landing zone over there. See that big field?
Oh, you talking about over here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was thinking.
I like the brown one better.
Okay, this one.
Yeah. Yeah, you can start it in the green and go into the brown. Okay. So now, saying if you're going to put flaps in, if you think you can make it with flaps, then go ahead and put your flaps in, and we can. But what happens to this plane when you put flaps in?
Slow down.
Yeah, it slows down and it pitches up. So you got to be very careful. So we're going to simulate that for now. Go ahead and now you're going to start turning to final, keeping it down to 70. You remember, we're trying to bring this down. Keep it turning. Stick and rudder. Don't use one without the other. And keep it down. Put your hand on the throttle, just in case we need it. Now, let's say we've put our flaps down. We've done it. We put them down. Now we're going to shut off the electrical system. Shut the master off. Simulate the master off.
So,
ignition off. Yep. Flaps off. We got our flaps. Don't pull it up.
Okay.
Keep it down. See, we're going down. We're going to go down. We got our flaps in, and we're going to start in that green field and go right on through into the brown field. So looking good. And we're going to line up on it. Keep going. Keep going down. All right. Now, go ahead and power it up. Nice and smooth. Don't let it pitch up too high on you. Good. If we would have put flaps in and slipped it, we'd have been right there at the edge of the green field. Got rising terrain, so you want to make sure you got a good radar. You got full power, and you got your VX, VY. 68. You got full power, good. And if you got rising terrain and you can move your plane where it's not rising terrain, go ahead and do that. So you go over this way a little bit. See this rising terrain over here?
Right.
You just sort of turn away from it and go up this way till you get well above it. Good. Okay. Go ahead and climb back up. 3,500, 75 knots. And then recheck your configuration. Make sure you got your flaps up.
Flaps are up.
Yeah, everything on, good. Turn land off.
11 traffic, Columbia 268 Whiskey departing 1911.
Okay. Now we're going to go back to Lebanon and do some power off landings at the field. Okay, get your notebook, get your notes out where you can write.
Alright.
I want you to take some notes. Give you a blank piece. You got a blank piece of paper? Here, I'm going to give you a blank piece of paper. Okay, anytime you're going from one point to another, at about 30 to 40 miles out, if you're at altitude, you can start picking up ATIS. So you need to go ahead and pick up ATIS. So we're going to Lebanon, so tune in to ATIS or AWOS or ASOS and get that.
20, altimeter 30, 0.
And put that at number one.
Density
Number one,
altitude,
ATIS,
1,000.
ATIS, AWOS.
Lebanon Municipal Airport.
And if you want to write the values, write them in over here.
1536 Zulu. Wind 220 at 7. Visibility more than 10. Sky condition clear below 12,000. Temperature.
I'm going to help you with the heading.
Dew point 20. Altimeter 30. Niner. Remarks. Density altitude 2,500.
Lebanon Municipal Airport.
Automated weather observation 1536 Zulu. Wind 220 at 7. Visibility more than 10. Sky condition clear below 12,000. Temperature 32. Dew point.
When you have your weather, let me know.
Mike, are you up?
30.
At the Columbia?
Niner. Remarks. Density altitude.
Alright, I've got the wind and that altimeter.
Okay. That's at a minimum what you need. Anything else you want to write that you think would be helpful, by all means write it. Okay. Now, the next thing is you got to determine which, number two, which runway am I going to land on? Runway assignment, or just runway? Determine runway. Based on wind, but you know that it's based on wind, so you don't have to write that. Okay, this is what I, as an aid early on for my students, use one of your nav things that you're not using, or just borrow it for a minute, and put in the wind. The wind is what?
220, so right there.
220.
So you cover up the bottom half, we have 19 to land on.
That is correct. So you determine you're going to land on run 19er. Now, you're sort of familiar with this area, so, well, you're not really. You haven't been out here that while. So now you've got to get in your mind, you're coming from this angle.
Right.
And this is what I sort of do. I simulate a turn to final from when I'm on my on-course heading. And on-course heading is, let me get it back over here. Okay, so here we are, we're out there, and we're navigating to Lebanon. Now I've determined I'm going to land on one, so I do a simulated turn to final. So final would be this way.
Right.
And I note, this is a mental note I'm making. Am I making a left or right-hand turn?
Making a left-hand turn.
Okay, and the traffic pattern is Lebanon is what?
Traffic pattern altitude?
No, the traffic pattern turns.
Should be left.
They're left.
Left.
So what that tells me is that I'm on the correct side of the runway.
Right, we're on this side of the runway.
We're on this side. If I turned right, let's say I turned right to get to 19er, then I would have to cross over the runway.
Right, we're on the wrong side.
Okay.
I get what you're doing.
Okay, so this helps you. Okay, so now I'm on the correct side of the runway. And I'm gonna sort of stabilize it at 300 here. You can fly the plane, by the way. I'll let you fly it. 3,000 and at a heading at 250. Okay, so now we got to either visualize that how we're going to enter the pattern. And the standard is enter at a 45, midfield, downwind, and then make left turns, face the final. So, knowing that, sort of look at this, when we're doing the 45 to end up in the midfield, we've got to be past runway, the approach into runway 1 in order to get the 45. So as you approach the field and as you pick up the field, you got to start and say, okay, I need to maneuver over this way to the left so I can intercept the 45, come back to midfield in the downwind, and then go northerly heading, then do my base and final turn.
Right.
Because your downwind is always going to be opposite of your landing, your final approach course. So, right now we're 11 miles from Lebanon. You got your GPS running in the background. So you're not really going to be able to pick it up that well.
What do you mean?
Actually see the runway yet from 11 miles with all this haze. So as you get closer, you start trying to pick up the runway or the airport environment. So you can start situating yourself to enter the 45. Now, so third thing is determine how to enter the traffic pattern. Another thing I start looking for when I'm coming out is I look out about, it says 10 miles, I start looking out for the city center. And if you look straight out at about 12 o'clock, at about 10 miles, you can see the cluster of buildings out there.
Right,
that's Lebanon.
Right.
So you want to see if that's working for you on navigation. Again, we're using GPS and looking pretty good right now. So you have the airplane, 3,000 feet.
I have the control.
Okay. Sometime in there, you're going to have to start descending. It all depends how high you were when you en route. You're going to descend at about 500 foot a minute. So to go 1,000 feet, to descend 1,000 feet is going to take you what?
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
At 500 feet.
500 foot a minute. That's a nice leisurely descent. So, how far can you go in 2 minutes? How far can you go in a plane like this in 2 minutes?
I'd need to know the glide rate.
Well, here's just a rule of thumb. You can go twice as many miles.
Okay. Twice as many miles as I descend for 1,000 feet?
Yeah. So if you go, let's say you determine, okay, it takes me 2 minutes to drop 1,000 feet. That means I can go double that, 4 miles.
Okay.
So and 4 miles means you're going to be 4 miles away, and you're going to drop 1,000 feet. Guess what? That would put you at traffic pattern altitude. It works out perfect for you. But sometimes you're a lot higher. So you have to be thinking ahead of time, how much altitude am I going to have to lose? When am I going to have to start my descent? Based on, how fast you're going and how fast you want to descend.
Right.
So at this point, start your nice leisurely descent to 1,600 600, which is traffic pattern altitude. We're getting a little closer. We're at 7 miles away. Now we're trying to pick up the runway or the airport environment, which we're going to shift. I'm going to correct you just a little bit. I can actually see the environment because I'm used to it. And I'm going to point it out to you so you'll start.
That's the airport over there.
Yeah, it is. See those two white buildings, one on one side, one on the other, so like one on the left and one on the right? Well, in between it is like a light green patch.
Right.
That's the airport. That's all that cut grass. There's no trees on it. It's all cut grass. So you're going to make a beeline for that. So go ahead and turn to that. Now, this is where some people call it the pencil method, or I call it the, just the runway alignment method. You lay your finger across the runway.
Right.
That's how the runway is aligned to you right now. When you look out there, the runway is like this to you.
Okay.
Okay?
Runway 19 is?
Right. Okay, now which is 19er over this way or 19er over that way?
19er's that way.
Okay. Did you do that because you looked here and saw 19er here and you got north here?
Oh yeah, we were just kind of looking at it.
Yeah. But on a DG compass, it's all in reverse.
So 19er's back this way.
19er is over this side, and the approach into runway 1 is on this side of the runway. And it makes perfect sense. Look, if you line up on final, we're turning to final again. See? 19er, we're lined up on final now. Now, slide yourself over.
And we'd be
lined up on 19er to land.
To land on 19er, okay.
Yeah, okay. So, remember I told you earlier that you're going to have to get past runway 1 in order to turn back and get in the downwind.
Right, so we need to be out more this way to come back in for the 45.
Exactly. Wait a second, you're coming up in traffic pattern altitude, so go ahead and power up to about 21, 22. And I'm gonna steer you over this way because I know this area. There's a water tank up here. This is not the water tank. The water tank over that way is
in those trees.
Yep. It's sort of like my flyover point for the downwind for 19er. Now.
So now that if we were coming back that way, that would put us right into the 45.
1,000 is correct. 1,600 traffic pattern altitude. You got to maintain it. Yeah, that's why you have to run through this mental spatial orientation thing to figure out where am I coming from, how is the runway laid out, how am I going to enter traffic pattern. It gives low-time pilots fits because they have a hard time getting spatially oriented in space. That's why I drew a diagram. That's why I'm using all these little mental aids so you can try to get a visualization.
Right.
And then looking out. Right now,
19er's that way, and we need to come in to hit downwind, base, and final.
If you're trying to turn downwind right now, you would be way out here, way past base.
We'd be all screwed up.
Yep. And that is, in fact, the tower.
Traffic pattern altitude for Lebanon is 1,600.
Yep. And I'm gonna. What you can do, make a call right now. That you're maneuvering for the 45 runway 19er. So it goes like this. Lebanon traffic, Skyhawk 460, maneuvering for the 45, 19er, Lebanon.
Lebanon traffic, Skyhawk 53460, maneuvering for the 45 for runway 19er, Lebanon traffic.
Watch your altitude. Trim it out so you don't lose it. Okay, once you fly over that tank, I want you to turn to the right and look for the middle of the field, and I want you to sort of beeline it for the middle of the field. Now see your field over there?
I see it over there.
Okay. Remember, you're trying to come in at a 45 degrees to the downwind for 19er.
So then, should I go ahead and start turning?
Yep. And you want to maintain your altitude. And if there's a lot of traffic or, well, this is a double-edged sword. If there's a lot of traffic, the radio's really blocked up. Everybody's talking. But right now we're practicing radio communications. Now you want to tell them you're established on the 45 for 19er.
So go ahead and call it.
Yeah.
11 in traffic, Skyhawk 53460, established on the 45 for runway 19er, 11 in traffic.
Remember, midfield, you're heading for midfield. Okay. And you want to be at 1,600.
Can I make that radio call right?
That's fine. Okay, now you're looking for your midfield, your downwind turn. You don't want to get too close, you don't want to get too far away because you won't make it back if you lose an engine. So this looks pretty good right here. So turn downwind, and you can make it, I'm giving you a workout on the radio. Now you go midfield downwind for 19er.
11 in traffic, Skyhawk 460, midfield downwind for runway 19er, 11 in traffic.
Good. Okay, now, checklist handy?
Down here.
Okay, everything starts at the numbers in this thing.
Right.
We're a little low, so I'm going to pitch up real quick. Get our altitude back. Okay, now, we're going to make our initial power reduction to about 1,600, and you're going to put in your first degree of flaps.
Alright, we're not really in the...
Oh, you're in flap range, 110. You can get the first, you can be up to 110 and put your flaps in on the first degree.
Okay.
Now you hear, notice how the airplane's pitching up.
Right.
You don't want to pitch up, you want to descend.
Right.
So trim it for a descent, no more than 500 foot a minute. Now you're looking over your shoulder for a 45-degree angle.
I need to go ahead and turn.
Okay, make it and call your base.
11 in traffic, Skyhawk 460, turning base, runway 19er, 11 in traffic.
Scratch the turning part. They know you're turning. That's just an extra word. Okay, you got to let it come down, and now you're going to put your second degree of flaps in. Okay, look at the airport. Does it look high, low, or right on?
Are we a little high?
We're a little high. Okay, so put in your third degree of flaps, and go ahead and turn your final.
Can I do it while the flaps are going?
Yep, yep. You have to. Better than overshooting it. Keep the nose down. Look at your speed. Keep the nose down. 70 knots. You want to pitch for 70 knots. Pitch for 70 knots. Self-line back up.
Still high.
It's going to come down, trust me on this, but at 70 knots. Trim for 70 knots. This is what all this trimming's been about.
Need to call the base, right?
No, you want to call final.
11 in traffic, Skyhawk 460, final, runway 19er, 11 in traffic.
Are you lined up on the center line?
No.
Nope, get me lined up. Now this is where you do a slip. Called a, in other words, you want to go this way, but you want to get top rudder in. Okay, now you line it up.
Wow, we're right over
Now you're getting low. So now you slide a little power in, slide power in, slide power in. There you go. But as soon as you get it, you're lining up, not letting it get away. You got to be ready to, willing to come back out with the power again. Now you don't want to keep pulling it up. Okay, now ease the power out. Use the power out. It's nice and easy, nice and easy, nice and easy. You're sort of holding it, holding it, holding it, holding it, holding it, holding it up. There we are, we're on the ground. Now, give it full power. Remember, it's going to try to go left on you. So you got to give it right, little right. Don't fight me on the rudder.
Okay.
Got flying speed?
Yep.
Okay, fly. Good. That was a touch and go. I don't know if we've done one or not before.
We have.
Okay. Okay, this is where you climb out at least 64 would be a nice VX climb. So pitch up to 64. Got full power. Full power. Things climbing, you got your flaps up. Remember, remember, it will, if you keep it pitched up too high, it will go past 64 on the slow side, so you gotta be willing to lower it. But no more than 75. I don't want any faster than 75. So keep pitching up then, if you got 80. And now turn to your crosswind. This way.
Alright.
Make your call.
11 in traffic, turning crosswind.
Not turning, just crosswind.
11 in traffic, Skyhawk 460. Crosswind, Lebanon.
19 or Lebanon, but that's okay.
Alright.
Okay, now look back at the airport. You don't want to get too far away.
Right.
And then you want to turn your downwind. And now your traffic pattern altitude, it happens real fast, so pull your power. Pull your power. And then lower the nose. Pull your power. 2100. Pull your power. 2100. Good. Now, push it down. Get back on your pattern altitude.
Alright.
Okay, trim it out if it's untrimmed. Lebanon traffic, Skyhawk 460, downwind, 19 Lebanon, full stop. Okay, now this is where you do your checklist, landing checklist. As soon as you get stabilized in the downwind.
Alright. Before landing, seat belts.
Yeah.
Check. Fuel selectors on both. Mixture is rich, and autopilot is off, which honestly I don't know where the autopilot's at.
Right here.
Okay.
This is where it all starts, your initial production. But as you're doing it, guess what? The engine stopped.
Okay.
So the first thing you want to do is you want to look at the airport. Look at the airport.
Right.
And turn towards it. Even if you're high. And you want to go to best glide. Don't want to fly away from a good airport. We don't have to land at the numbers, we just got to land on the airport. Best glide.
I need to pitch up then.
Okay, pitch up. Until you think you're high. Once you look at the airport and you say you're high, then you can start adding flaps. Right now, you pitch up 68, and you better turn for that airport or you're going to end up laying in the grass. Turn. Lebanon traffic, base final turn, simulated engine out, 19er Lebanon. 68. 68. Okay, you don't want to put any flaps in yet because you ain't made this field yet. 68 or 70, I'd accept 70.
Right there at it.
I'm still not convinced I've made the field yet. There we go. Easy on the rudder, easy on the rudder. Easy on the rudder. You have your hand on the throttle now? Oh shit, look at that.
What?
I can see my damn GoPro falling off. Hear that stall warning horn?
Yeah. I heard it.
Getting close to the edge there, weren't you? Okay. The part of this exercise is that never fly away from a good airport. You hesitated a little bit on turning to final, turning back to the runway. You sort of got in yourself a base, and that turn to base almost cost you. How close, without adding power, did we come to the end of that runway?
We were pretty close.
Pretty close, very close. I knew that we still had a little in it, little energy, and we could make it. But most students were ready to start pushing in the power, but they didn't think they were going to make it. Go go ahead and call your clear of 19er.
Lebanon traffic, Skyhawk 460, clear of runway 19er, Lebanon.